It is an ancient mariner, he stoppeth one of three. By thy old grey beard and glistening eye, now wherefore stopp'st thou me? The bridegroom's doors are open wide, I am next of kin. The guests are met, the feast is set, midst thou hear the merry din? He holds him with his skinny hand, there was a ship, quoth he. Hold off, unhand me, greybeard loon. Eftsoons his hand dropped he. He holds him with his glistening eye, the wedding guest stands still, and listens as a 3 years child, the mariner has his will. The wedding guest sat on a stone, he cannot choose but hear, and thus spake on that ancient man, the bright-eyed mariner. The ship was cheered, the harbour cleared, merrily did we drop, below the hill, below the kirk, below the lighthouse top. The sun came up upon the left, out of the sea came he, and he shone bright, and on the right went down into the sea. Higher and higher every day, till over the mast at noon, the wedding guest, he beat his breast, for he heard the loud bassoon. The bride hath paced into the hall, red as a rose is she, and nodding their heads before her go the merry minstrelsy. The wedding guest, he beat his breast, yet he cannot choose but hear, and thus spake on that ancient man, the bright-eyed mariner. And now the storm blast came, and he was tyrannous and strong. He struck with his oar taking wing, and chased us south along, with sloping mast and dripping prow, as who, pursued by yell and blow, still treads the shadow of his foe, and forward leans his head. The ship drove fast, loud roared the blast, and southward aye we fled. And now there came both mist and snow, and it grew wondrous cold, and ice mast high came floating by, as green as emerald. And through the drifts the snowy cliffs did send a dismal sheen, nor shapes of men, nor beasts we ken, the ice was all between. The ice was here, the ice was there, the ice was all around. It cracked and growled, it roared and howled, as noises in us wound. At length it crossed an albatross, out of the mist it came, as if it had been a Christian soul, we greeted it in God's name. It ate the food it ne'er had eat, and round it flew. The ice did split with a thunder fit, the helmsman steered us through. And the good south wind came up behind, the albatross did follow, and every day for food or play came to the mariner's hollow. On mist or shroud, on mast or cloud, it perched for vespers 9, whiles all the night through the fog smoke bright glimmered the white moonshine. God save thee, ancient mariner, from the fiend who plagues thee thus. Why looked thee so? With my crossbow I shot the albatross. And I had done a hellish thing, and it would work them woe. For all averred I'd killed the bird that made the breeze to blow. O wretch, said they, the bird to slay, who made the breeze to blow. The good south winds still blew behind, but no sweet bird did follow, nor any day for food or play came to the mariner's hollow. The sun came up upon the right, out of the sun came he, still hid in mist, and on the left went down into the sea. Nor dim nor red, like God's own head, the glorious sun uprised. Then all averred I'd killed the bird that brought the fog and mist. 'Twas right, said they, such birds to slay, who brought the fog and mist. The bright breeze blew, the white foam flew, the furrow followed free. We were the first who ever burst into that silent sea. Down dropped the breeze, the sails dropped down. 'Twas sad as sad could be, and we did speak only to break the silence of the sea. All in a hot and copper sky, the bloody sun at noon, right above the mast did stand, no larger than the moon. Day after day, day after day, we stuck, nor breath nor motion, as idle as a painted ship upon a painted ocean. Water, water everywhere, and all the boards did shrink. Water, water everywhere, nor any drop to drink. The very deep did rot, O Christ, that ever this should be, and slimy things did crawl with legs upon the slimy sea. About, and reel and rout, the death fires danced at night. The water like a witch's oils burned green and blue and white. And some in dreams assured were of the fiend who plagued us thus. 9 fathoms deep had followed us from the land of mist and snow. And every tongue through other drought was withered at the root. We could not speak no more than if we had been choked with soot. Oh, well a day, what evil looks had I from old and young. Instead of the cross, the albatross about my neck was hung. And then there passed a weary time, each throat was parched and glazed each eye. A weary time, how glazed each weary eye. When looking westward I beheld a something in the sky. At first it seemed a tiny speck, then it seemed a mist. It moved and took at last a certain shape I wist. A speck, a mist, a shape I wist, and still it neared and neared. As if it dodged a water sprite, it plunged and tacked and veered. With throats unslaked, with black lips baked, I could not groan or sigh. I bit my arm, I sucked the blood, and cried, "Assail, assail." With throats unslaked, with black lips baked, agape they heard my cry. Gramercy they from joy did grin, and all at once their breath drew in, as they were drinking all. "Look, look," I cried, "she tacks no more, whither to work us wheel?" Without a breeze, without a tide, she steadied an upright keel. The western wave was all ablaze, the day was well nigh done, when that strange shape came suddenly betwixt us and the sun. And straight the sun was flecked with bars, heaven's mother bring us grace, as if through a prison grille it peered with broad and blazing face. Alas, I thought, my heart grew loud, how fast she nears and nears. Are those her sails that glance in the sun like restless gossamers? Are those her ribs through which the sun does peer as through a grate? And is that woman all her crew? Is that a death, and are there two? Is death that woman's mate? Strange bark alongside came, the twain were tossing dice. "The game is done, I've won," quoth she, and whistled thrice. The sun went down, the stars came out, with one stride came the dark, with far heard whisper o'er the sea, off shot the spirit bark. We listened and looked sideways up, fear at my heart as at a cup, my life's blood seemed to sip. The stars were thick and dark the night, the helmsman's face by his lamp gleamed white, and from the sails the dew did drip, till clomb above the eastern bar the horned moon with one bright star within the nether tip. One, by star-dogged moon, and I heard nor groan nor sigh, each turned his head with awful pang, and cursed me with his eye. 5 times 20 living men, and I heard nor sigh nor groan, with a heavy thump, a lifeless lump, they fell down one by one. The souls did from their bodies fly, they fled to bliss or woe, and every soul that passed me by, like the whiz of my crossbow. I fear thee, ancient mariner, I fear thy skinny hand, and thou art long and lank and brown, as is the rib sea sand. I fear thee in thy skinny hand, and thy glistening eye, and thy skinny hand so brown. Fear not, thou wedding guest, this body drop not down. Alone, alone, all alone, alone on a wide, wide sea, and never a soul took pity on my soul in agony. So many men, so beautiful, and they all dead did lie, and 1,000 slimy things lived on, and so did I. I looked upon the rotting sea and turned my eyes away. I looked upon the rotting deck, and there the dead men lay. I turned to heaven and tried to pray, but wherever prayer had girst, a wicked whisper came and turned my heart as dry as dust. I closed my eyes and kept them closed till the balls like pulses beat, for the sky and the sea and the sea and the sky lay like a load on my weary eye, and the dead were at my feet. The sweat had never melted from their limbs, nor reek nor rot did they. The look with which they looked on me had never passed away. An orphan's curse could drag to hell a spirit from on high, but oh, more horrible than this is the curse in a dead man's eye. For 7 days and 7 nights I saw that curse, and yet I could not die. The moving moon went up the sky, and nowhere would abide. Slowly he was going up, and a star or two beside. His rays bemocked the sultry main like April hoarfrost spread, but where the ship's huge shadow lay, the charmed waters burnt away a still and awful red. Beyond the shadow of the ship I watched the water snakes. They moved in tracks of shining white, and when they reared, the elfish light fell off in hoary flakes. Within the shadow of the ship I watched their bright attire, green, glossy, black, and velvet green. They coiled and swam in every track. It was a blaze of golden fire.